motorhomediaries.com.
I'm Dan D'Amico, Assistant Professor of Economics at Loyola University, New Orleans, and I'm an anarcho-capitalist and a complete voluntarist. So the voluntarists are often confronted with this issue. Oh, so if anarchism's so great and efficient, it would be so wealthy and prosperous, then how come it's never happened? And then the anarchist or the voluntarist responds and says, well, Iceland, several hundred years it worked. The wild, wild west wasn't so wild, and there's all these little case studies. And yeah, there's only a few, and they didn't seem to last very long, or they're overtaken by competing nations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what we're starting to do is get more and more of these case studies in more and more different sort of subtle contexts, right? You've got Ed Stringham talking about stock markets in Amsterdam. You've got Pete Leeson talking about pirates on the high seas. You've got Bruce Benson talking about the Anglo-Saxon Vergeld system, or David Friedman talking about Vikings in ancient Iceland. I'm trying to talk about prison systems around the world. They all seem to share the same basic incentive structure, the same sort of core rational choice functionality. It's going to get to the point, it seems, where you're not going to be able to escape how patternistic those results appear, and how blatantly absent those functional incentives are in current state-based systems. Well, what's it going to look like? Well, I think that's actually a fun thought experiment to engage in. I think different places would have systematically different results, but I do think it's sort of a false claim to say that New York City or Manhattan or Wall Street would suddenly crumble to a halt in total chaos and violence if we were to eliminate over time or gradually the funding and labor behind the New York Police Department, and turning that over essentially and opening up the opportunity for private investment to do it. I definitely think that could work. I definitely think that the incentives and interests of people who have commercial interests, who do business, who live their lives day in and day out in those areas, have every reason in the world to invest in everything from private security devices, fence locks on their doors, patrolmen in local neighborhoods, gates for local neighborhoods, security officers for the lobbies of corporate buildings, let alone even community policing and patrol officers.